All right, guys, this next guest needs very little introduction. A pioneer in Australasian MMA. It's a pleasure to welcome the one and only Dan the Hangman Hooker back to Submission Radio. Dan, I feel like you're just a regular piece of Submission Radio now, and a Dan Hooker room, a conference room, is being put together as we speak.
I'm looking forward to it, lads. Well, as we say, persistence pays off. I ignored your first 38 messages. That 39th message really got me going, boys.
We did the Kim Kardashian approach. We stalked every social and we messaged persistently until it paid off. Stage 5.
We appreciate it, man. We really appreciate you chatting with us. And as you said in the message, you promised first dibs. So really appreciate it, Dan. Thank you. Dude, what's the last week been like? We see you've got the sick backdrop in your hotel room. We know it's a crazy place where you're at the moment. What has the last week been like since UFC 257 for you?
It's actually been really good. They gave us the boot off Yas Island Sunday of the fight. So we left Sunday, came to Dubai, got set up at our hotel, and then just been exploring the city ever since. Been making my way around Dubai, been to the adventure park. Just checking out everything, checking out the city. Good people. I got the hotel across the road from TK MMA Fit, Sean Sullivan. That's where Bam Bam's doing his camp for his fight. And there's just a bunch of good fighters there, good blokes. And they've been, taking us to the beach, and everyone's just been hanging. Yeah, I've just been exploring the city and hanging out with good people.
Okay, before we talk 257 Adventure Park, what was that like for you?
Pretty cool. Yeah, what's it called? Like the Atlantis water park. It's pretty crazy. It's cool here that you can go out, like we're in the sun all day, and I like no sunscreen, and I didn't get burnt once. You go to New Zealand, 5 minutes in the
in
sun.
15-degree weather, with the sun out.
Yeah, and it's cloudy, and I got a red face after 10 minutes. So I was it's sick. It's winter over here, which is like New Zealand summer.
Well, let's talk about, you mentioned Fight Island before, so let's just quickly talk about UFC 257, because you mentioned it. You've had a little bit of time now since it's all gone down. Have you had a chance to sort of look back at the fight and your time on the event?
Oh yeah, of course. Like, I see the fight. I just had, to be honest, I had nothing to say. Like, a week went past, and like, what can you say? What can you say? You have good days, bad days, and like you go into these kind of things and you prepare yourself for like worst case scenario. But even that took the cake.
It surprised you.
Even that surprised me how bad it went. That was like the very surprising thing. So I was like, what can you say? What can you say? I had like no words to describe that. You're like, come to, and then you're just like, whoa, like I've just wasted like 4 months of my life for that,
Oh yeah, you gotta love that. You gotta absolutely love that. Let me ask you, if we were to get sort of a little bit technical, what do you attribute the fight result to? Did you feel like you had an off night? Did anything about Chandler surprise you? What was it?
Yeah, I can't, like, it's that's like the funny thing, like, Zig then should have zagged. That's that's all it is. Like, fighting is like a mixture of thinking and like and your reactions. Like, you're like balancing your like processed thought and then your reactions. I felt like I like calm, could see everything, was thinking, was like sharp in there. Relied on relied on my reaction to get out of the way of that punch, and it let me down. So it's hard to describe. Like, it's such a obvious it's like such an obvious error and such like a very costly mistake.
Yeah, it was one of those situations as well where we saw you were pretty frustrated after the fight. You took the gloves off there for a sec. I think the commentator said, what was going through your mind? Did you taking off the gloves? Was it just pure frustration? In that moment, were you thinking maybe this is it? What was the sort of thought process behind it?
Oh, always, yeah. You're always like frustrated after a loss. Yeah, like I balance everything, like sheer frustration, um, like you're disappointed, and then you get back to the hotel, and I'm like, yeah. In that moment, I was like, that's I'm done. I'm finished with the shitty sport. I'm done. Then you get back to the hotel and you like sit down and you think about it and you realize you're not good at anything else either. So it's like, well, I was thinking, well, shit, I've kind of painted myself into a bit of a corner here.
Mm. Are you happy?
You can't like, yeah, people think you're like gonna be like rolling around in depression and not getting out of bed, but it's just like I know what it is. It is this is a sport I've been doing and following for my entire adult life. So it's like always a possibility, but you're not like rolling around like a loss like this. You're not like rolling around in depression, like super upset. Like it kind of it's self-explanatory and it is what it is. And I can honestly say like, I'm not any more upset than when I lost the Poirier fight. Like people are gauging like the fan reaction to the fight or like how they felt about the fight, but not but that doesn't mean that that's like a true representation of how like you feel about the fight. Like I'm as upset about that fight. Well, it's like a little bit different. The fan reaction was like good to the last one, to the Poirier loss. You pretty much go like worst case scenario in the last fight, but it's like I'm just as disappointed about like both are losses, both over time, and you understand that if you follow the sport enough, like people remember, oh, that was a great fight, then time passes, 2 years. Oh, did he fight Dustin Poirier? 5 years later, 5 years after the fight, they're just like, they look up your record and they just see the red and the green. They just see win and loss. So I understand that, in the sport, like losing is losing and winning is winning. And it doesn't like, it's the same thing, like an inch or a mile. It doesn't matter. If you win, you win, and if you lose, you lose. And if you follow the sport like long enough, you see that happens time and time again.
Dominic Toretto, doesn't matter whether you win by an inch or a mile. So yeah, Fast and the Furious going down. Yeah.
And Dan, like you mentioned, you're over there training right now. Would it be safe to say that you're sort of excited to get back in there now, and that thought is just completely gone out of your brain at this point, or is it still sort of in the back there?
Oh, it's like yeah, like I was saying earlier, like when you lose, it's never like you're rolling around depressed. Yeah, and then I was like, oh, maybe I'll drink my sorrows away. I went to the bars, $20 a beer in Abu Dhabi, and I said, well, that plan's out the bloody window.
Conor McGregor has a bottle of proper 12 in his room, Dan. You should have gone up there, knocked on the door.
Hey, buddy, can I come in?
Someone should have given me his room number. But $20 a beer, I was like, well, I'm not drinking my sorrows. I'm going to the gym. But it's never like you're rolling around like an overwhelming depression, like you're sad or anything. When you are like a loss like that, it's just like more of like a constant ringing. It's just like a constant ringing in your ear, like you're just like it's just ringing in your ear, and it just like over time it'll irritate you long enough that you need to. It's like an itch you need to scratch, and you need to get back in there and like avenge it. And the only thing that I've found that will ever get rid of that is a win, is to turn that around. We're in the sport of you're as good as your last fight. So yeah,
Okay.
If that answers your question.
Yeah. But also, just to like ask you also bluntly, when you were taking your gloves off in the middle of the cage, you weren't considering retirement seriously at that point, were you? Because that's not what people do. They take their gloves off, and when people see the gloves come off, they go, "Oh, dude, this is a retirement." That wasn't that. That was just frustration, right?
Like I was, like you invest so much into the sport. You invest so much. Like that was, I didn't even like you prepare for like a bad case, but that's like a whole nother level. That's the first time. That's the first time that's ever happened to me in my career. To not only lose, but to lose in that kind of fashion where you're out back and you're fine. Like you go back to the hotel. I was like, you don't even feel like you've been in a fight. At least you you go out there, you fight your heart out, you get busted up, someone gets the better of you, but you tried. You went out there, you went out on your shield, you tried, you fought hard. That's a lot easier to take. That's like because you went out there and you got. I didn't even feel like I got in a fight. Like we arrived back at the hotel and I didn't even. I was kind of like, was that you're just thinking more is like, is that a bad dream? You're just like, it's more of like a bad dream case scenario.
Did you get a chance also to speak to Michael Chandler before you got off the island, or sort of communicate with him after the fight at all, or was there no real opportunity?
No, I bumped into Henry Hoof first. At I just went down and get something to eat. He come up to me and just like everyone knows what it is. And then I bumped into Michael in the elevator going back up. And yeah, just same thing. Like there's no like malice in it. There's no it is what it is. Like I just wished him the best as he moves on. Same thing. He just wished me the best for my career, and that's just what you do, like at this level.
I'm curious, how long after the fight did you actually did you sit down and watch the fight? I know fighters have different processes for how long they go back and watch them. Sometimes fighters never even watch their losses. What was it like for you? How quickly did you watch the fight back?
Oh no, I watched it like fairly quick. I remember like a lot of it you can just go from memory. Like I remember it's just like he changed levels. I think like I relied on my instincts or relied on my reaction time. He sold the level change well. I thought he was going for a takedown, comes up steal the punch. Like there's a million things I could have done that would have changed that. There's a million different technical things that, or a million different reactions that I could have done and that not happen, but it did. What can you do? What can you do? I certainly don't have a time machine. I think Floyd Mayweather has if anyone has a time machine, Floyd Mayweather has a time machine. I do not have a time machine.
Well, you never know. You've still got some time over there, and if they've got those water parks, they might have a time machine waiting for you somewhere around the corner. So we'll see what happens. But just quickly, while we're talking about UFC 257, what was your reaction when you saw that Dustin beat Conor in the rematch?
Oh, that's a guy that's earned it. You know what I mean? Like that's his catchphrase is paid in full, and that's like 100% what it is. Like that guy wears his heart on his sleeve. That guy goes out there and fights his heart out every single fight. Goes out and continually puts it on the line. So it's good to see a result for a fighter like that, or a fighter which I see like a lot of similarities with our careers.
Did anything about Conor surprise you in that one? I know a lot of people were surprised, sort of how the leg kicks was such a big impact on him in the fight.
In terms of what?
In terms of the Conor McGregor that we kind of, I suppose we saw.
Nothing in the sport surprises me anymore. That's why we play this sport and why we like this sport, because it's just an absolute roller coaster.
Because you guys are pretty familiar with the calf kicks as well, I was going to say. And when I was watching the way that Dustin was fighting Conor, I thought, man, maybe that was the strategy that Dan and the team would have had if he would have faced Conor McGregor eventually? The calf kicks.
Well, there's not many good southpaw calf kickers. Like, come to think, yeah, like that's like a new one. The like two orthodox fighters calf kicking is like a pretty familiar sight. But at the top level, yeah, southpaw versus southpaw. Yeah, that's like definitely a new tool that I haven't seen from Dustin. He kicks a leg, or he's a low kicker, but it's good. It's a good weapon to kind of add to your arsenal, especially against Conor, who's not doesn't like overly respect the low kick from too many opponents.
How would you feel about a potential? And I don't even know if we should be sort of matchmaking with you at this point, but how would you feel about a potential Conor McGregor fight? I know Eugene was talking to Combat TV, and he was asked about that fight because he's coming off a loss as well. Is that something that would interest you? Do you feel like
I say people's names and call people out and do all that kind of thing when it makes sense. When it makes sense. But I'm being practical about the whole situation. I'm back in the gym. I'm training. I'm wrestling. I'm grappling. But getting hit in the head is not even getting hit in the head is not even a thought of mine for the coming months. Like, you just got to be smart about it. So I'm not even thinking about that. So I don't want to sit here and say that the headlines come out. Oh, Dan Hooker's calling out this guy. Dan Hooker's calling out this guy, because I'm not at this stage right now. I'm not thinking about it like that. That will come. When I'm back in the gym and feeling 100%, or I'm feeling pretty good, but when I'm ready to fight and get back in there, I feel like that's the conversation. But to sit here and to say names and to say I'm going to fight this guy and say I want this guy, when it's so far down the track, I think is I feel like that would just be talking shit. I feel like
this is the time to call out Brock Lesnar, by the way. This is the moment right here.
It's our last person I want to get hit by.
Yeah. And just FYI, you said Conor's name, so that's enough to stitch a headline in there. Dan Hooker? No, just kidding.
It's too late, Dan. The headline's there. You might as well talk about it.
Thanks for the clicks, Dan. No, but
cut it all together. You'll cut it all together.
It'll be like Homer Simpson on Newsline. But no, I wanted to ask you, timeline-wise, what do you think it looks like for you? You're not even thinking about, like proper head sparring or anything. Do you think you could be taking sort of an extended break? Especially while the pandemic and travel and stuff is pretty crazy and up in the air. Do you think you might take a little bit of a break at the moment?
I feel like it'll be good to because I've been out of sync with the boys for a while. I've been out of sync. It's pretty cool. It's pretty cool watching like I get pretty jealous like watching all the other boys like getting on the same card or like roughly around the same time. And they're like all and like moving as a team and all kind of in it together. That's like cool to watch. But that's something that I've had to for the last year kind of sit out of sync with my team, and I'll get back in the gym and they're all away like fighting and things like that. So it'll be cool to like jump back in sync with like Israel, Kai, Brad, like and Vulcan, the rest of the boys. So and that works like timeline wise as well. They bang these fights out in March, and then a few months after that, when they're looking to get back in, 2-3 months after March. It'll be cool to get back in timeline wise. It'll be cool to get back in sync with my team and with the boys.
Next week, someone falls out at UFC 259, and Dan Hooker just comes right back in March. Hey, Dan, I was also going to say before we moved off the topic of when you're going to come back, I know you've been in quite a few wars and stuff, and people have wondered if there's any sort of lingering damage there. How are you feeling? How is the body feeling? I know you're just after a fight and it's just finished up, but just in general, do you still feel the same like you did a couple of years back? Are there things that you're noticing from time to time from all the wars that you've had in there, or how's the body feel?
That's like a very different That's like very different, like kind of like I've never like you don't want to. I get hit a lot in previous fights, but it's not like I'm not like relying on my chin. No one like that's like a headline, like Dan Hooker's got a good chin or this fighter's got a good chin, blah blah blah. Like no one, trust me, no one has
slow news week.
no one has a good chin. Like I don't have a good chin. This guy doesn't have a good chin. There's just fighters that get hit and fighters that don't get hit. Like no one, trust me, no one has a good chin. You get hit with those gloves on. I wouldn't stick my chin in the air and let my wife punch me in the chin. She'll probably knock me out. Does that mean that she's a knockout puncher? It's just people get hit in the chin and people don't get hit in the chin. No one is No one has a good chin. That's a myth.
That's actually a very, very smart way to look at it. Speaking of myths, this is no myth that people who shave their balls will get 6,000% more action this coming Valentine's Day. And what better way to do that than with Manscaped's Lawnmower 3.0, the best grooming tool on the market. You don't want to have an Amazon in your pants this coming Valentine's Day, do you, Dennis?
Nah, man. Valentine's Day is an important one. Don't let a pair of hairy balls ruin it for you. Make sure they're nice and smooth. And also, don't forget the Crop Preserver and the Crop Reviver. These products, man, they'll keep the boys from sweating and smelling and sticking at the wrong times on Valentine's Day. You guys can get 20% off right now, plus free shipping with the code word submission. And Submission Radio is presented by Manscaped. So, Cass, it's exciting times for Valentine's Day for all of our listeners and followers.
Very exciting times. Just one more thing, Dan, before we let you go and get out of your hair. The last thing from me is just when you look at the division, just the whole title picture and the way things have shaken up, I'm curious to get your thoughts, if you're even thinking about it. What do you think happens next with this UFC lightweight title belt picture?
My hand on my heart, honest opinion, I do not give a
That's the headline. That's the headline right there.
I could not care less. Like I'm not even gonna sit here and lie to you boys.
I'm not surprised. I appreciate the honesty, and I thought as much. I just wanted to hear you say I didn't give a fuck.
And Dan, as we wrap up, man, we just want to. So you can't go home now. To give us the breakdown. So you can't go home now, because you got to book like one of those sort of sessions or spots to get back into New Zealand. So take us through it, because I know Israel and the boys got stuck up there, and I've had family that live in New Zealand get stuck in other countries and stuff. So what's the plan for you? Are you going to be staying just over there? You guys
just say that question again? I think the old sound cut out for a bit.
Yeah, I was going to say, what's the plan for the rest of your time there? Because I know it's hard to get back into New Zealand. You have to like book a certain time period to get back in there. And I know Israel and the boys got stuck, and you're over there right now. So how much longer do you have to be there for? What are you going to be getting up to? And sort of how are you going to make the most of your time overseas, I guess, during these crazy times?
So I have a ticket booked. They booked that, they booked that like not over 2 months ago. My ticket's for the 21st of February. So that's when I'm allowed to get back into New Zealand. So I got 3 more weeks over here. Like, it's cool. I have a month over here, and a week just flew by. It's good people, good training here at TK MMA Fit in Dubai. But there's a lot of stuff to do, a lot of cool people, and I've only like ticked off like a small amount of my list of things that I want to get done over here. So I'm just enjoying it, going with the flow, enjoying a bit of a holiday. Not many people get to get away at a time like this, especially somewhere as open as Dubai. Dubai, if I was to describe it, it's like New Zealand but with masks in public. That's pretty much it. But you're allowed to take, if you're smoking or drinking or eating food or at the beach, then you don't have to wear a mask in public. So it's very.
I've never heard it described as
like
New Zealand, but with a mask in public. I feel like a lot of people are going to travel there now and be like, wait a minute.
I don't know. Like, you watch, you like watching news in New Zealand, and there's like big red flashing lights on every single one, and you're just like, the rest of the world is, people are dying in the streets, and then when you get over here, and you're just like, oh, people are just wearing masks.
Pretty chill. Well, the real reason we want to chat to you, Dan, was just to see that you still got that classic Dan Hooker smile on the face. And we can honestly say we're not disappointed, man. So, look, really appreciate your time and really good to see that you're in good spirits. Always appreciate chatting with you. Always appreciate the banter. And you're welcome anytime, man. Enjoy the rest of your time over there. Stay safe and enjoy the training, man. We look forward to seeing what's next for you, Dan.
Cheers, lads. Always a pleasure. And I'm looking forward to my office being completed.
The Dan Hooker press conference room. Absolutely. John Morgan will also be asking the first question. We'll get out of your hair, man. Enjoy the rest of your time there, man. Thank you so much.
Cheers, lads. Thanks as always.